I'm going to show you how I do my animal fur on this little fox. And I just start by roughing in some of the colored areas before I worry about any kind of detail. I'm going to use my Jillybean Dirty Dancer just to fill in some burnt umber into the inner ear area. And I'll add a little water to it, thin it down just a little bit, but I just want to rough that in. So just real quickly, base in the ears. Okay, then for the chest area of the fox, I'm going to use dark gray, and I'm using the Deco Art Traditions paint. Add just a little bit of water to that as well. I can either use my Jillybean Dirty Dancer, and because I'm not trying to get, really refined fur yet, I can use that to fill in, or I can use the wave brush, and this comes either in the faux squirrel or in the black gold, and it's like it has little tips on it that have been cut almost like a pinking shears has cut the little edges, and I'll just get up on the tips and I'm just going to pull that fur out, and notice the direction that the fur is growing so that you get it going in the right way right from the beginning, even though you're just kind of base coating in. So you'll notice the front of the chest, it goes down and then it kind of pivots and goes out to the sides. I want to get right up next to the chin area there. Okay, for the rest of the fur, I'm going to use the burnt sienna. And I may need to add, I still had a lot of water on my brush, so I think I'm okay. There again, if you're getting in large areas, you can use just drag all the tips, but I kind of turn it at a little bit of an angle so I can make it fit into a smaller area here, and pulling the fur on the back. And I just want to get all the rest of this area filled in with burnt sienna. Even though it's kind of solid, I can still see the brush marks. Kind of pull back in so that it melts into the gray, and just quickly kind of base that in. Just keep I've got a light touch. Also follow the direction of the fur again. So in the middle of the head, it's going to kind of pivot. So if you start there, you'll kind of get the right way to pull, and then just continue to fill in. I also want to get some dark gray in the muzzle area. I'm just going to go back with my Dirty Dancer, and I'm using the pointed round, and I'm just kind of doing little rough strokes. I can get a little smoother right up next to the nose. The nose and the eyes were just filled in with black. And I just want to, even if you'll just kind of stipple, that would be fine. I'm not trying to make everything solid. I want that texture. It's going to help me when I get more of the detail going. And I'll be able to separate this area better after. Now I'm going to switch to my rake brush, and I absolutely love the black silver rake brushes by Dynasty. Now, because it's a smaller piece, I could actually cut a little bit off each side of this and use it smaller, or I'll just kind of use one corner as I pull the fur out. Let me start in the chest area, and I'm going to start with medium white. I don't want to go to pure white to begin with. Thin it with some water. I don't want it so thin that it's transparent. I just want it to be able to come off the brush nicely. Kind of pat the extra off on the palette. And I can just use one corner, and I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling the fur in the direction, and I want to kind of create rows, not making it filled in solid like I did the first time with the gray. For the muzzle, I can use the same brush, same color, but this time I'm just going to tap to get that little texture. Just tap with the corner, getting the texture on the muzzle. Next, I'm going to start another color in the fur on top. I'm allowing this other area to dry. So I'm going to start by getting some brighter areas with Paragon Orange. Still using the rake brush. And just adding little strokes of fur throughout all of the face, and the chest and the ears. Now I'm going to go back to the white chest area. I'm going to try and keep a brighter white off to the left side using titanium white and the rake brush. A little bit of water, but not quite as much this time. And I might have to reload my brush more often. I'm also going to stipple a little bit more white on the chin. Just use the corner of the brush. In order to get a little better transition in the mouth, I want to pull some black down into the lower part, and I can either use my 10-aught script liner by the Faux Squirrel in Dynasty, or I'll use my black gold 20-aught mini script liner. Either one, they're both got very nice points. So I will touch up my little black line to start with, and you'll notice that the mouth kind of dips up in the middle there, and then pull little teeny dots or dash marks coming down into that chin a little bit for a little bit better transition of the color. If you get too much, you can always go backwards, get a little bit of the titanium white, and tap that back in so that they mix together a little bit better. I do want to brighten a little bit more on that muzzle, so I will just tap with the tip of this brush, and a little bit more on the chin, on the bottom, so I'll just tap. I'm going to go back into the top half of the fur and lay in some darker areas. I'll go back to my rake brush and use some burnt umber, just a little bit of water in it, not too thin. If I feel like I've got too much water on my brush, I'm going to blot it on my paper towel. So I want some darker shadow to separate the head from the back of the body. Very light touch. I want some dark coming up the center of the nose. Just short little taps, not long hairs there. Get some also on the ears, just short little taps. Separate the ears from the head a little better. I want to get darker near the eyes. Just pull out. And I can always touch the eyes up if I mess into them. You can add just a few random in the face too, just to help break up kind of the blockiness, because I'll come back with some lighter color again. This will just help with a little bit of shadow. Now I want to start adding a little bit more refined color, and I'm going to add a little bit of raw sienna, little hairs. Next, I want to get some brighter colors. I will get a little bit of Dare-Lied Yellow and Paranon Orange. Mix those two together. That doesn't show. Maybe a little more yellow in there. Then brighten just with some of the yellow. Any areas that become too intense, go back with a little bit of the Paranon Orange. Soften them up a little bit. Okay, and I even want just a little bit of medium white mixed in with my orange and my yellow. To get some accents. I need a little bit of white above the eyes. I'm going to try the medium white first, and if that's not bright enough, I'll switch to the titanium. Just use my script this time. Have a little bit better control. And then come backwards with some burnt umber to help transition that into the fur area a little bit better. I want to get some ear hair. I'll start with the medium white, and I'll just use the liner. I could use the rake. Then add some titanium white on the tips, mostly just at the bottom. When that dries, I'll come back and add some shadow in the top half to help set that in. I'm going to add some little flyaway hairs to the tips with my liner. On the ears, I don't want them as bright, so I'm going to try raw sienna and medium white for my little accent hair. I'm going to put some shadow in the ears where the ear hair is, and I'm going to use Payne's Gray and my Jillybean Dirty Dancer. Now, when I'm blending with that, I like to dip both ends into extender, wipe it off on a paper towel. Payne's Gray is a lot more transparent than black. I could have used black, but this is a lot more transparent and easier to blend. I'm going to come and separate the hair from the edge of the ear, lay it in with the pointed round end of the brush, flip the brush over, and just soften away that edge with the blender side. If you need more contrast between the chin and the fur on the chest, you can add some Payne's Gray under there also. I'm going to work on the eyes next. And if I've messed into the eyes, start by just filling in with black. Inside the bottom of the eye, I've got a little bit of raw sienna, thinned with some water. And just use my liner brush, not touching the bottom edge of that black. It's almost like a long triangle. Leave some of that black showing. There's a white reflection in the top of the eyes, titanium white thinned with a little bit of water. And I'm going to make kind of a square and then a longer triangle. I want it to be darker above the eyes, so I'm going to use some of the black and my liner brush to pull little lines up into the fur. You're not going to really be able to see where the top of that eye is. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Pull little black lines just in the burnt umber area. And then I want a little bit of dark gray to highlight the skin that kind of hugs the bottom of the eye. Okay, now this eye looks a little bit worried, and it's because I've got this white so flat. I want to bump it up a little bit in order to make him look a little bit sweeter. So I'm going to add some burnt umber in the center area there. And then I can raise my titanium white or medium white. So that's a little bit more rounded. Make sure I round the top of the eye a little more also. The nose has dark gray across the top edge, but just little teeny strokes and come down the side of the nose just a little bit. Then inside that is titanium white little marks, even smaller. And mostly just in that one corner. And I could keep playing with this forever, just going back and forth with the different colors of fur until I feel that it looks the way that I want it to look. Here's a picture of a finished piece that has the fox on it, and you'll see that I just really played a lot with all different colors, going back and forth until I get the right shading and highlighting in color combination on the fox. This is a red fox, and it's a little bit more of a baby, so he doesn't have quite as long of a nose as an adult fox. I hope you've enjoyed my little fur techniques and that you will check out my Jillybean YouTube channel and see more brush techniques. Also visit my website, www.jillybean.net.